Hi guys, this is Michael Brown from Tinted, courtesy of Tinternet. Now today we're going to show you how to do a top tint, not to be confused with a sun strip. Now a sun strip apparently has got many names nowadays. When I first started it was simply called a sun strip. And nowadays some people call it banners, some people call it eyebrows, windscreen banners, windshield eyebrows, all the same thing. What we call a sun strip, and what a sun strip is a vinyl strip on the top of your windscreen. This is not that. This is a top tint. This is a window tint sun strip applied on the inside so that it gets dulled, so you can see through it as you drive on the inside. However, it will significantly reduce the glare from the sun as you drive. Let me show you how to do it. Okay, now unfortunately, we haven't got an offcut to do a sun strip, top tint, excuse me. Now when we have, when you do sun strips, what you normally do is you keep the other half of the roll for the next sun strip. And you can also use offcuts of large windscreens or rear windows that you've tinted for a top tint. Now on this case, we've run out, so I'm going to have to go across the roll to use one, and then obviously the other part of the roll will be used for my next top tint, so I wouldn't have to cut in the roll again. It is a bit of a waste of material, I must admit, because what we need to do is we need to go through the roll to be able to use the factory edge. So, like I say, you can't really charge much money for this. 30, 40 pounds is probably about right. So I'm going to have to go through the roll, and then the other part I'll keep for the next job. Let me show you how to do it. Okay. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to spray up the bonnet so I can feed out how much I need. Now, if I feed out around this much, this will be more than enough for my sun strip. And then what I'm going to do is the part that I've just taken off for my sun strip, I'm going to fold in half. It doesn't have to be exact, but I'm going to press down the crease in the middle, reopen it up, and then I'm going to cut through that crease. Now that crease is going to be the edge that we discard anyway, because it's the factory edge that we are going to want to keep. So if I'm just simply lifting the material off the car so I don't scratch it, and there we have my rough cut, and then of course we have our factory edge, which wants to be the edge going at the bottom of the top tint. I'm going to find the liner to figure out which side is front and back, and now I'm going to spray up the outside of the window. Now again, if you guys saw this the sun strip video, it's going to be extremely similar. I'm going to get my tint on the window, and I need to get it roughly in the right place. Now you need to remember that these can fail its MOTs if they are too big. So sometimes when a customer wants a really big sun strip, top tint even, you might want to direct them on the size that you think that they will probably get away with. Now that's about right, and I'm just going to find a tape measure so I can measure it off. Okay, so we have now got our tape measure, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to butt it up against the rubber or wherever the windscreen ends, and I'm going to measure down, but I want my tape measure to go down the ceramic dots, and that's going to be 237 millimeters. I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm going to measure from the symmetrical point, which, believe it or not, will be the dots, so we know exactly where to measure. Now that one's a little bit smaller, that one's 225. I'm going to make it a bit bigger. That is 237, which I think is what the other side was. But because we've moved that, The other side could have moved also, so I just need to take another measurement of this. 237. So now we are in the right place. Left and right, we were roughly in the right place to begin with. Now we've just measured it, and we know 100% that we are symmetrically straight. Now I'm going to lock it down. There we go. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to open up the car, I'm going to get some light inside, and I'm going to cut it as tight as I can to the dots. Guys, could I ask you to hold this for a second? It's only a small light, that one. And here we go. Use my glamorous assistant Gaz here, as it's a very dark film, and the only light I could find off the edge over here, the only light I could find is a very, very small one, so it won't light up much. Because this is a VW, that tells me that the trims inside will be very tight. So I'm going to try and cut it as tight as I can without being short. There is pretty much almost to the center. I'm going to try and come there so I can get past the center to make the other side not too difficult of a reach. And I'm going to trim all of that there. And again, the bit that I originally cut in the middle, the rough cut, is the part that's going to be discarded here. I can open this one here. I'm going to start on this side. And then we'll go back to the middle, and then meet up where we've just left off. And there is our offcut. But this is where it gets different from a sun strip. Now, normally this sun strip, we could pretty much just cut to the edge of the glass and go. Here we've cut to the rubber, but cut to the ceramic dots. But here and here will be a mirror boss. You know, the part that we need to cut around the mirror. And the mirror should be right around here somewhere. There we go. Got a big circle here. Now, I'm not going to cut it really, really nice, because I'm going to use a circular tool to make it even better, if my circular tool is big enough. And there is me cutting out the mirror boss. And actually, now that I've done that, I'm going to change my mind. I'm not going to use the circular tool. I'm just going to trim a little bit more off to make sure it's definitely going to fit, because these VWs can be very tight. And I think that's about it. There we go. We've got a nice circle for it to go. Thank you very much, guys. Now, the next part is I'm going to bring you lot inside, and then we're going to finish it off on the inside. If you can see what I'm about to do now, before I bring you inside, something very, very important is I'm going to take it off the windscreen. I'm going to turn it upside down, like so, and I'm going to put it back on the windscreen on the inside, but below the area that I'm trying to tint. Okay, so here we are inside. Like I said, we've taken this the template that we've made. We've taken it from the outside of the glass the right way up, and we've taken it to the inside of the glass below the area we want to tint, and upside down. Now, the next thing you can obviously see is we need to move this mirror. Now, unfortunately, I can't teach you how to remove every mirror, because every mirror is completely different. They've all got the same principle, but they're very, very different to each. I can tell you how to remove this one, and I'm pretty sure that it should turn. And yes, it does. On a little twisty circlip there, and now it's off. Now, this here has also got a sticker in the corner, And because we need to put a sun strip in there, means that we remove this sticker. I'm going to start by getting the edge of the film, edge of the sticker with a blade, and then I'm going to spray it up. And we do need to be very, very careful how much liquid we use here, because there are a lot of wires and electricals underneath here. In fact, let me show you as a precaution what you could do. Gaz, please could you pass me the soap rope? I'm just going to blade this glue off the sticker whilst Gaz gets me a soap rope, and then I can show you what that is. Thank you very much. Now this is called a soap rope, and it's basically a microfiber rope. And what we do with this, it's great for windscreens, especially with top tints, is we simply tuck it down underneath this dashboard, and it should collect all of the water instead of running through to the wires. And I will show you at the end just how much that soap rope had picked up. But anyway, back to the sticker. I'm going to take off the sticker, and I'm sure you guys would know how to remove the glue from the sticker, but you're just watching start to finish in real live action. Just making sure there's no residue left, and I think we're good to go. Put that on the floor there where I know where it will be, so I can come back and grab it in a bit. Right, I'm going to spray the glass as normal, spray my scouring pad as normal, and just start scrubbing. Now again, you might notice me struggle to fit this tint, and I do, and if I do, it's because the polyurethane glue that bonds the glass in, and also the trims around the window on VWs are very, very tight. But nonetheless, we've cut it as tight as we can. And again, like I said to you on a previous many videos, as long as the window is still wet, the window is still dirty. Let's make sure we get all of that water off and slide the water with the dirt inside it to the sides, and away it goes. Now there is like an aerial sticker on this window, and I'm very much hoping that my tint won't overlap it, because I must admit I hadn't accounted for it when I was cutting it on the outside earlier. What I should have done is I should have checked any obstacles first before I decided the position I was going to put it in. I'm going to grab some tissue and mop it all up, starting in the centre, catching any little drips that might have dirt in it, and also drying it up slightly for the next procedure, especially around this mirror boss here. Now I can see a contaminant stuck right next to that mirror boss, so I'm going to blade them free also, and then I won't bother re-scrubbing it. I will simply wipe it off and hope that the tissue will catch it. Like that. Now we are ready to apply the sun strip. This is what we're going to do. Bearing in mind it's currently upside down, I'm going to release the liner with the top tint. I keep calling it a sun strip, my bad. I'm going to release the liner of the top tint, not all the way, because it's very static here. I can pick up dust. Just a little bit, then more, a bit more, until it's all gone. And I'm just going to spray the glass also, just to make sure that it's not going to stick. Now here's the tricky part. It's not the tricky part, but the good part. I'm going to grab what should be the top, but it's actually the bottom because it's upside down, and I'm going to flip it until it's in the right direction. I'm going to start and put it pretty much in the right place, but I need to stop here and make sure I locate the mirror correctly. pretty good. Now, I can make this bunched in the middle so I can get the right hand side in, and then simply sort out the middle once we get here. And I don't know how well you guys can see that, but it is pretty much perfect. Now we can spray up the tint, a couple of squeegees and a card, and we're done. As simple as that, folks. What were you worried about? Window tinting is easy. Money to be made. This is squeegee number 1, and unfortunately it looks like I did go over that aerial, which is a shame. Hopefully I can flatten it down a bit, and if I can't, I'm gonna have to redo this whole thing again, because I didn't check whether that aerial sticker, well, if I'm very honest with you, I didn't even know it was there until I got inside, and by the time I got inside I'd already cut it. What I should have done is cleaned it before I started cutting, and that would have helped me see anything any obstructions. Squeegee number 2. And I do not like that aerial. Feels like it's ruining my squeegee every time it touches it. And then squeegee number 3, just to make sure that we definitely haven't left any moisture in. Like so. Squeegee number 3, except I don't know if you noticed, guys, but this mirror boss is stopping me from having a nice consistent squeegee. So I'm going to have to go around that mirror boss with a card and a bit of tissue and make sure it's definitely lying flat around that, because if that mirror boss wasn't there, we could have just went from center out nice and smoothly, but because it is sort of disrupting our movement. So here we go. So I'm going to make sure there's no fingers or moisture left behind, and then this little piece here, the tiny little piece, I'm going to backward squeegee it like that. If I forward squeegee it, I will probably just dink the edge and crease it, and it'll be game over. So I'm just going to make sure it's all out, and then a nice backward squeegee there. Perfect. Now with the same card, wrapping some tissue in for 2 reasons. Firstly, I don't want to scratch the film with this card, this naked card. And number 2, I want to absorb the moisture on the edges. Get rid of these side fingers. Side fingers on a top tint is actually very, very rare. But if it's a VW, it's very, very common. And get that final edge, the edge that you look out, making sure that it's definitely not going to hold any moisture in. At the top, down the sides, and then that, my friends, is done. Very, very bad, very hard to show you how to do a top tint, obviously, because we're inside, we're outside, we're up, we're down, we're left, we're right. Hopefully you guys saw how to do it. If you ignore the quality of the video and just listen to what I'm saying, hopefully it would be good enough. So I'm just going to clean it up now, and of course there's going to be a few splashes, which doesn't really matter. We can wipe them all up as long as no major moisture has run into the electrics, which it hasn't, because with soap rope is at the bottom. If you haven't got a soap rope, if you had a few different microfibers or some chamois or anything at all, even just paper towel, you could wedge them down that gap just to collect any moisture that might run down and get into them ECU, sort of the car's computer. That window is clean. Now I'm just going to dry up the dash. Remember, it's only soapy water, it's not going to hurt. As long as we dry it before it leaves any run stains, should be absolutely fine. Give it a nice wipe dry. Of course, when you give it back to the customer, they can put their heaters on and their blowers, and it'll dry twice as quick. Again, as long as you haven't stained anything or let the water just run down the back of that dashboard with reckless abandonment, you should be good to go. Bit of a blow. And we should be good. Good to go. Perfect. Right, let's have a look on the outside and see how it looks. You don't have to, and just sort of bring it round to the front here. Right then, let's have a look. This is a top tint from start to finish. As you can see, not only can the driver see through this when they're driving, that will severely reduce the glare, but also looks pretty cool as well. I've got to now put this mirror back on, and also there was this sort of aerial sticker here which the tint had to lie over, so I'm going to heat that up and flatten it out. My name is Michael Brand from Tint.net, courtesy of Tinted. Thanks for watching.